Hi guys, it's Ariana. Welcome back to my channel. So for tonight's video, we're going to be reading some more scary stories. As per usual, I have my wicked candle in here, making the home smell like caramel apples. I am sorry I've been away for about a week. I have been honestly just making a crazy amount of shorts and TikToks and that form of content for the last week, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it, and I haven't had a whole lot of time to film full-length videos, but I'm gonna try my best to juggle both platforms because I enjoy doing both. So I am going to be reading some more creepy stories, and I'm very excited to jump into them. So if you are interested in the creepy story that goes along with this look, you can go to my short section on YouTube, or you can go over to my TikTok if you have a TikTok, and you can watch all of my creepy stories there. I do a lot of makeup looks telling creepy stories and a lot of body paints telling creepy stories. I'm not great at body painting. I'm telling you now, I suck, but I'm getting better. And the only way to get better is to practice. So you guys are literally living with me as I practice my body paints, and eventually I'll be good. And if I have black lipstick on my teeth, it is because this lipstick is very old and I don't care. But we are moving over to these spooky stories. So this is gonna be just like a mix of Let's Not Meet stories and paranormal stories and just creepy stories in general. So let's jump into the true creepy story. This is from the Let's Not Meet section. It is from the Reddit author Humbro, and it's titled, Man Claimed He Was From the Police. This is a story that pops back up in my mind from time to time. I've only told it to a few people, but I definitely feel like it deserves its place here. It's for sure one of the scariest moments I ever had as a child. Back when I was around 10 years old, my mom finally decided that it was time for her to start taking her driver's license. When she began taking lessons, she was struggling a lot. For that reason, my dad decided that he wanted to do some practice with her besides the official driving lessons with her instructor, just to make sure that she'd pass the upcoming test. My little brother and I were attending swimming lessons at this nearby university. Behind a forested area near the university lays this huge student parking area surrounded by trees, which turned out to be basically an empty parking lot every weekend. My dad saw the opportunity to take my mom here to drive around for a little while and brought my little brother and I with them since we were too young to stay home alone. So we just brought a ball with us to play with. When we arrived to the parking lot, it was in the evening and my parents began their practice. My little brother and I quickly got bored and asked if we could go over to the little grass field on the side of the parking lot to play with the ball. My parents let us since they'd always be able to keep their eyes on us while driving around anyway. After playing around for some time, my parents ended up driving around in the other end of the parking lot. They were approximately 300 or 400 meters away at the time. Suddenly, this white Toyota pulled into the parking lot. We were playing almost right at the exit or the entrance, and the car turns around and stops on my right side, where the vehicle is now facing the exit. The driver rolls down the window and presents himself as Thomas. He looked friendly, was good looking, very young, I would guess probably about 30, and this is where things start to get strange. In the passenger seat was a woman covering her face with a newspaper. All I could see was her long blonde hair, and in the back seat was a baby in a baby chair. Thomas immediately states that he's from the police and that we have to get in his car immediately, as he has to talk to us. My brother actually took 2 steps forward towards the vehicle, but I stuck my arm in front of his chest as I was sensing something was very wrong. The woman was still covering her face at this point, not saying a word. Thomas then raised his voice and told us again to get in the car. My brother and I froze out of fear, and suddenly, the woman put down the newspaper, showed her face, and told us in the most calm and motherly voice to just listen to the man. The woman looked young and like a person who wouldn't hurt a fly. At the moment, I began to scream as absolutely loud as I could. What we hadn't seen at that point was that my dad was already running as fast as he could towards the car. He was coming from behind the vehicle, so we didn't see him. My parents didn't have time to drive to us since the road down the parking lot was twisted all the way. When my dad heard me scream, he started yelling as loud as he could to get the fuck away from his kids. As soon as Thomas heard my dad, he realized my brother and I weren't alone and threw his car into gear and took off as fast as he could. He almost definitely looked like a person who shat himself when he saw my dad. My dad was furious and told my brother and I to hurry up back in the car. He didn't even think about calling the police at this point. He wanted to beat the guy up himself. This resulted in us driving around for the next hour trying to find him before my dad cooled down and decided that he should probably just call the police. We never found out who these people were, but this episode taught me to never judge a book by its cover. People can be the most friendly looking people in the world and still wish evil upon you or the ones you love. I'm not sure what these people would have done to us, but I am sure about one thing. They definitely weren't from the police. Oh my God, that's really freaking creepy. I'm so glad you had the intuition to not get into the vehicle and to stop your little brother, because obviously you guys were very young, but definitely stranger danger. Don't get into someone's vehicle. Holy crap, that is fucking terrified. Holy shit. That is like my worst fear. Becoming a mother, whenever I become a mother someday, that is like my worst fear, is like somebody kidnapping my kids. Like my best friends have little ones now, and that is like the biggest fear we all have, is something happening to the little ones. And oh my God, that is terrifying. My nose is freaking running and it's driving me crazy. Every time I put makeup on, my nose runs. I wonder if I'm allergic. I don't know, but it's freaking irritating. The next one that I'm gonna read is from the ghost section on Reddit, and it's from the Reddit author Ultra Heavens, and it's titled, I just received an email from my dead father. My dad died 6 weeks ago. Earlier this evening, I received an email from his account. It simply said, check this out, followed by a copy-pasted headline and a link to a news article from 2 days ago, pertaining to the university that I went to and a topic I cared a lot about. It was exactly the type of article that he would have shared with me and that we would have talked about. I rationally assumed that my mom just had sent it from his computer, which she still had his email logged in on. But she told me that she had not sent it and had no knowledge of the article or news in question. She did share with me that she had an encounter about an hour before I received the email. For context, my mom lives alone in the house she shared with my dad. I live about 7 hours away. She said she heard the garage door open and close and got scared, so she called the neighbor, who then told her that he could only see the light on in the garage. But when my mom checked, the light was off. She has recently had many partial dreaming experiences of seeing and hearing his spirit. I have also dreamt of interacting with his spirit several times. I'm always aware that he's dead in those dreams though. But this email is my first tangible and unexplainable experience. Has anyone heard of ghosts reading the news or sending emails? Edit. I did reply to the email with a message to him. Edit number 2. The link is to a legit news website. Don't worry guys, I'm aware of phishing scams and know to be wary of strange links and messages. The email was too eerily personal in nature though. Edit number 3. I just checked for email spoofing, and it appears to be legitimately sent from his Gmail account and our local IP. I'm going back to my parents' home at the start of May for his memorial gathering, so I will be able to investigate my dad's phone and computer and other things then. Oh my God, that is really, really, really sad. I'm so sorry that you lost your father, and that his spirit is now emailing you is kind of scary, but at the same time kind of wholesome, because he's just reaching out to you and wants to talk to you, but he can't, and that's the only way that he can, and he's just trying to reach out from the other side. Please don't try to talk to him through like a Ouija board or something. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. But that is really, really sad. And thank you so much for allowing me to read your story. Again, I'm so sorry that you lost your parent. That is absolutely heartbreaking. The next story that I'm going to read is going to be from the Spoopy Cjades section. It is from the Reddit author, The Night Auditor 1, and it's titled, My Aunt Cassie Has Been Haunted Her Whole Life. This started when I was a child. She said it was a large estate and her mom and grandmother and herself lived there. She had many creepy stories in this house, and she documented it all in a notebook. She did let me borrow this notebook a while back because I'm into paranormal things, so here are a few experiences she wrote down. When she was super young, I think maybe 7 or 8, her mom had a boyfriend who was into the occult. She said that one night she went into his room because she had a nightmare, and she was trying to get her mom to wake up. And she looked over, and the boyfriend in question was staring at her, eyes wide open, and they were solid black. She freaked out and ran back to her bed. She was a little older now, and her mom bought her this giant teddy bear. She came home from school that day, and the bear was in the fire pit outside, burned to an absolute crisp. When she asked her grandmother what had happened, she sat her down and told her that the bear started talking to her. She was in the kitchen making tea, and she heard someone talking in the living room. She told her that Cassie's mom had come home, and she walked into the room, and she looked over the couch, and the bear was standing up and talking. So grandmother said she grabbed him, took him outside, and burned him to a crisp. She said it even screamed as it caught on fire. One other thing, Cassie was in bed, and she said it was a few hours after she had gone to bed, and she woke up, and her whole room was blood red. And at the foot of her bed was a man smiling at her. She grabbed her Bible and started reading until she fell back asleep. She also mentions in the notebook that there was a spirit that walked the halls of the estate and drug chains around, and another who was an old man who wore overalls. She saw them many different times. When she was a teenager, she began dating my uncle, and he came over one night. They were hanging out, and he saw the man in the overalls down in the hallway and got freaked out and decided to leave. When he got home, he swore that he was lying in bed, and the bed started shaking. Her notebook was full of paranormal stories from her life, but these were some of the highlights about that house. The house mysteriously burned down, taking my grandmother with it, and they never figured out what happened. My aunt and uncle got married and have been married 30 years. They have 3 kids together, but after the first child, which was a girl, was born, the hauntings picked back up again, when their daughter started complaining of the closet man. They reached out to a paranormal investigator who concluded that my aunt and cousin has ESP and the spirits or whatever are drawn to the women in their family. They said that they believe that the boyfriend of her mom had attached something to her. They said it seems like something is after her and her children. They then had a second girl, and it got a lot worse. After they had their third, it all stopped, and it was a boy. She wanted to try and forget all about it, but my uncle was obsessed and continued to try to see what would happen if he provoked it. So after that, the spirit started after my cousins, her daughters, and it would throw things at the girls and grab them and push them down. Cassie had enough and ended up divorcing my uncle, and when the paranormal stuff happens to her now, she just pretends it doesn't. Oh my god, that's really creepy. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your story. That is so scary. I fucking hate that. The fact that it was after all of the women in your family is terrifying. The fact that your aunt's boyfriend at the time was into the occult and he attached something to you guys. Oh my god, that's fucking not okay. That is absolutely terrifying. Holy crap. Okay, so this one isn't super scary, but I found it was very interesting. So this is from the Humanoid Encounter section on Reddit. It's from the Reddit author Fishy Farts, and it's titled, I thought it was a tree, but it wasn't. I was a third shifter in Wisconsin, US around 2014. I lived about 20 miles from my workplace in the country. As I pulled into the section of a country back road that immediately led to the city, I saw probably the strangest sight that I've ever seen in my life, and I can't explain it. It was around twilight, almost evening, and so the trees were all black against the dark blue sky. And I simply happened to glance up at the top of one of the trees as I was driving. And what I originally thought was the top of a tree flew up into the air at lightning speed and disappeared. It looked like a humanoid thing with wings, but it was so fast I could barely make out anything. It definitely had legs and wings though. It just lifted up. The figure with wings that I thought was the top of a tree just flew up into the sky and completely disappeared. Lightning fast. I've never seen anything fly that fast. It was seriously like a blink. I remember stopping my car outside of my workplace and just sitting there and thinking about what I had just seen and wondering if I just imagined it. I decided not to tell my coworkers or anyone else except until now because it's been about 10 years. Oh my god, that's really creepy. I don't know what that could be. That's super weird. I don't really know much about the United States. Was in Wisconsin, so if you guys know anything about that particular area, what that could be, let me know in the comments down below because that is super weird and I don't really know. And the next one, again, it's not super creepy, but it's very weird. This is from the Glitch in the Matrix section, and it's from the Reddit author Throwaway for Assault, and it's titled, Lost my pen in Walmart after using it, and then all of a sudden, it was back in my car. I went into Walmart and was putting things into the cart and would cross it off my list as I went. I have white Sharpie pens that I absolutely love. I was in the cold section getting tea and milk, and I went to a new aisle and noticed I forgot to cross them off my list. So I did just that. I then got bottled water and put it at the bottom of my cart and went to cross it off. And I couldn't find my pen anywhere. I retraced my steps, I couldn't find it. I never heard it fall or anything. I was really stressing losing my pen because those are my absolute favorite, but I just accepted I lost it and continued getting my items, and then I checked out. But when I got to my car, put my groceries in there, and get in to leave, my pen is inside my door. That is weird. I don't know what that could be. Could you have had another pen in your vehicle and you just didn't know that it was in your door and you actually lost the other one? I don't know. That one could be probably debunked, but that's still really creepy. I hate that for you, and that's not okay. I don't like Glitch in the Matrix ones or like the Mandela effect stuff because it's just too creepy. I hate that. The last story that I'm going to read is from the Paranormal Encounter section. It is from the Reddit author Avatkin_Stargazer, and it's titled, Mimic Voice to Call My Son's Name. So today, I asked my son and my daughter to take the garbage out. I was in the kitchen cleaning the dishes without a second thought of the chore. Soon after my son and daughter left out of the house, my son comes running back in, asking if I had called him back. I laughed and I said, no, I just told you to take the garbage out. But he swore he heard me call for him. I didn't think anything of it, but then I got curious before I went to bed and looked back at my Ring doorbell to see if he in fact heard me call for him, which I assure you, I did not. And sure enough, you can hear what sounds exactly like my voice calling his name. But to me, the voice sounded so far off, almost distant, and the tone was very melodic. It was eerie hearing, and I know I didn't call for him. There are people walking along the street, and I said, well, maybe it was one of them that called your name, and he said that he doesn't recognize any of the people. I'm still sitting here absolutely perplexed as to how my voice was mimicked that well. It has me thinking that maybe I did call his name, but again, I know I didn't. And that's the whole story. That's really creepy. I hate mimics. Mimics in houses are so weird. When you hear something call your name, it's just so personal and it's not okay, especially when you're home alone. If something were to fucking whisper my name or call my name when I'm home alone, I would probably die of a heart attack. I would get my dog and I would go to my parents because fuck that. But at the same time, when I was a kid, there was weird fucking shit happening at my parents' house. I did hear something whisper my name when I was younger. I was up in my room. I don't know what I was doing. I was just fucking around in my room being a kid. And I heard something whisper my full name. It was like, Ariana. And it was so fucking creepy. I hated it so much. And I literally stopped what I was doing immediately. And I went downstairs and I was like, who just whispered my name? And my brother was sitting in like the living room reading. And my mom was in the kitchen cooking. And they both like looked at me and they were like, what are you talking about? Neither of us whispered. Like, no. And I have an older brother, so it was probably him fucking with me. And he's never admitted to it, but I definitely think it was him. But at the same time, I don't know. Because I also had sleep paralysis in that bedroom. I was upstairs in my room, laying on my side, and I felt something walk into my room. I heard the footprints, I heard everything, and it was standing behind me, and it was like this close to my face, and it was fucking breathing in my ears, and I was frozen because I was terrified. And then when it finally released me and I spun around, nothing was there. That is the one and only time I've had sleep paralysis, and I never want to have it again. And I don't actually know if it was like full sleep paralysis or if I was just like asleep but not asleep, like kind of in that weird stage, but it was fucked. And I got up and I went to my boyfriend's house and I slept there for the rest of the day. So, sleep paralysis, not okay. I've never actually seen anything. I've just heard weird things while I'm sleeping. And then having something say your name and just don't like it, that's not okay. Super creepy. But this is where I'm going to end the video. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please leave me your favorite purple emoji to go with my makeup look tonight. If you guys are enjoying my shorts and my TikToks, please feel free to go watch all of them. Go like them, go comment on them. If you guys could comment on my shorts, that would really help me a lot. They are getting a decent amount of views, but if you guys could comment, it would probably boost them quite a bit in the algorithm. So please leave me a comment down below in this video, and please also go to my short section, watch my shorts. They are very spooky videos and spooky stories and cute makeup looks and terrible body paint looks. But if you guys could go leave me some comments on those videos, that would make my heart so happy, and it would honestly help my video in the algorithm. If you guys have any creepy stories that you want to share with me, please feel free to reach out over Instagram or my email, and I will definitely read you guys' personalized ones because I don't have very many of you guys' personalized ones to read anymore. So I would love to read more of you guys' personal stories because it just adds a little bit more of a level of creepiness to know that it's a true story coming from my subscribers. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next video. Bye.